Hey everybody, welcome back to Live in the Wellness Garden. It is I, your site manager, Andreas, and today we're going to be talking about hydroponics. So, as you may have noticed, we are not in the Wellness Garden today. We are right next door in the new Smart Garden. Check this out. We've got our walls. These are Zip Grow Farm walls. We already have 3 of them in production. Well, kind of in production. They're recovering from the heat, and we're trying to get some more basil established. It looks like it is rooted, which is awesome. We're going to plant these 3 today. And we have an entire tray of seedlings, also hi Nelly, hello, that we started in Rockwool that now need to go in. Hello. And we're going to show you guys how to transplant from Rockwool today. Rockwool is a great medium for hydroponics. It is literally made, whoopsie, looks like I accidentally turned down the volume. It is literally made from rocks that have been melted and then spun into fibers like cotton candy. And I believe they use basalts for that. It's a very common rock. You can see, basically we just run nutrient solution through the rockwool, and then the rockwool grows seedlings for us. It's a very great medium. It's a really nice medium for starting seeds in hydroponics because it has it holds its shape really well. Well, it's solid basically. It's an amorphous solid, and because of that, it also has many air pockets in it and can hold on to liquid very well. So it's a great medium to use. Now I brought a knife, and we could begin dividing these up. But before we do, I just have a little plastic butter knife right here. Let's talk about what we're growing. So we've got some German chamomile right here. Okay, German chamomile is the annual variety of chamomile. We have some Roman chamomile, which is the perennial variety. We've got some lacinato or dino kale. We've got some chard, and we've got some rustic arugula. And the plants look a bit yellow because they're iron deficient. We need to dose the system with iron. I've been out sick for the past week, so I haven't had the chance to do that. But that's easily correctable. We just need to put some chelated iron in there. And these were also germinated with organic nutrients, which is cool. So fish emulsion and kelp, or fish and kelp basically. I think we use hydrolysate as well as emulsion. But yeah, so we're going to begin dividing these up. Normally it is 10 per tower. And Nelly, if you could bring down a tower, please, and get one of the tools. And also prepare a soaking solution with seaweed extract. So we're just going to take the knife and very gently get in there. And you'll see it's like pre-scored, I guess, on the bottom a bit. And so if we pull these out, it's like actually a strip. You can see the roots are starting to poke out of the bottom. Those cute little roots. And then we have our seedlings right here. That's our chamomile. And we're interested in growing both veggies and herbs in these towers, especially herbs, because we're working on this really cool tea project. So we're going to be growing a lot more herbs to make into tea, hydroponically, and aquaponically soon. Not yet, but soon. One system over, please. Not that one. Actually, yeah, that one's fine. That one's fine. Yeah. I think the chamomile will appreciate the morning sun. It is a bit shady here in this spot, but, you know, we'll make it happen. All right. So there's 2 strips of chamomile, and we're going to be doing half chamomile and half, I believe, kale or mustard was it in this system. I'll have to look at the schematic I drew, but we'll demonstrate planting the chamomile towers. Yeah, could you get me? Do you think you could get 4 towers off, or should we do just one at a time? Might be easier to just do one. Yeah. Why don't you get the soaking solution ready, actually? The seaweed extract is in the shed in the other garden.
Okay, do you have your keys? Maybe gelato.
I do have the keys. They're right here. Oh, and we need the felts too. I have them. Yeah, this one. For some reason, this row didn't germinate well. Got great germination on all the other ones. Yeah, Roman chamomile is cool because it'll persist in the towers indefinitely. we'll take these extra ones and we'll put them in a different system. Whereas German chamomile is an annual, and it will, after it flowers, it completes its life cycle and then dies. Roman chamomile is with you, it'll stick with you pretty much forever. So we'll see which one we like better. And that's 4 towers right there. So yeah, I'm gonna get some water and get the felts. Admiring our little baby seedlings over there. So check this out. This is where we're germinating these. We've got this table right here. And basically, this table is set to flood once a day from this tank right here, which contains our nutrient solution. And the nutrient solution is comprised of water, of course, dechlorinated water. We're using organic nutrients. We want the microbes in there, so we're not going to use chlorinated water. So water, a nitrogen-rich fertilizer, fish emulsion in this case, a phosphorus-rich fertilizer, so in this case fish and kelp hydrolysate, and then a potassium-rich fertilizer, in this case dried, powderized, water-soluble kelp. And these are all organic fertilizers. We also added rock dust for micronutrients in the form of azomite rock dust. We're going to have to use iron chelate, which is not organic, to get them iron. It's hard to be fully organic in hydro, but we can do our best. And then, yeah, it just, once again, floods twice per day, and then soaks our seedlings in a bath of nutrients. We dial the ratio of these 3 different fertilizers to favor growth that is good for seedlings, or favor the nutrition of the seedlings as opposed to more mature plants. Which basically means we, for the most part, we just run the nutrients at a lower concentration than we would in the systems, right? We have some basil in here. We've been harvesting a lot of basil. We have donated probably about 15 pounds of basil to the food pantry from these systems now. And they've only been running a couple months. And only a couple systems and a couple towers, so these systems are insanely productive. That's why I tell people, oh yeah, hydro and aquaponics is perfect if you're working with a small space, because you can get way more out of it than you would out of a container garden, and it saves water too. But if you have lots of land to work with, grow a food forest. Alright, so let's talk about these towers then. So I'm going to get a good vantage point for us. There we are. So this is called a zip grow tower. It is manufactured by a company called Zip Grow. They're based out of Canada. And I really like this technology personally. I think, oh, there's a stink bug hiding in there. Hello. How about you get up? Stubborn little thing. Alright, there we go. I think it's on the ground now. Yeah, so basically we have these plastic mesh inserts that are made from downcycled water bottles. So, you know, great that we're not using more plastic. We have this food grade PVC housing that holds the media in place. And then we have these felt strips right here, which make sure that the water is distributed evenly across the plant's root zones. Right? So what Anelli has done here is she has prepared a soaking solution of seaweed extract and water. And the seaweed extract is a root growth stimulant. It'll help reduce transplant shock and stimulate the growth of new roots as we get the seedlings in. And we're going to soak our inserts in it first before we begin soaking the seedlings. So 2 of them per tower. So we're just going to basically drop them in there. Let them soak for a minute. Just let them get nice and moist. Right? And we're going to start arranging our inserts. And now the way this works is we don't want them oriented lengthwise. What we're actually going to do is fold them. And the first time you plant them, it might be a bit tough. But we also need to get worms for these towers. We'll get some worms soon. Because in my organic hydro systems, I like to put worms in them to help decompose the plant residues. So we're going to fold these like so. And I'm going to unfold this one now and then lay this one on top. Maybe we should go from the other side so they can see that.
Yeah.
Alright, these are all nice and soaked in the seaweed extract solution. We're going to lay these inserts on here like so. This is very similar to the types of towers that our friends at Sea Sun Sustainability have been using in their freight farm. Pretty much the same technology. There we go. We're going to leave a little bit of offsets. And then we are going to begin separating our German chamomile seedlings. I would say it would be good to like separate them in half. And we're just going to soak them for a moment, maybe like 10 to 30 seconds. Just let them float around in there. Well, they're going to sink, unfortunately. Kind of don't want them to sink, but it's okay. So give them a good soaking. Try to take them out. And then I'm going to separate them further into individual plugs. And we're going to begin laying them on the wicking strip, like so. And Rockwool is so easy to work with. It's my favorite soilless medium because it sticks together and it's totally inert. You don't have to worry about and it also contains no plastic. I don't like using stuff with disposable things with plastic. I mean, it's impossible to avoid a disposable medium in hydro, but it is what it is. So we're going to do that, and then on the other side, it says space these at 8 to 10 inches, so we'll see how that works out for chamomile. To do 10 per tower. 10 per tower is very standard. 10 plants per tower is very standard in these systems. So we're going to start with that, and if we find that we can pack in more, we'll up it up to 16, maybe 20. At chives, we do 16 to 20, for example. So then we're going to make sure that, I'd say probably set them back in a bit further. Make sure that the spacing and whatnot is correct. Just try and get them nice and even and set them off from the bottom so they don't get sucked into the bottom of and into the reservoir, so they don't get stuck in the reservoir. Then line it up, seed it in the tower. Like so. Pull it through, just like that. And we repeat. Yeah, we're actually going to be offering classes on hydroponics and aquaponics very soon. Hopefully this semester, and if not, in the spring semester. So stay tuned for that. All right. That should have gone in a bit further. There we go. These are now planted. Oh, we need to make sure next time to kill the power on the system while we're planting, so we don't lose water.
Got it.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Okay.
So we're going to bring this over here, and as I mentioned, we're going to kill the power. It's okay we're losing a little bit of water because our little swales are going to capture a bit of water. Oh, that looks like a Peruvian pepper tree. We don't want that. Maybe it's not. I don't smell anything. I think I'd be able to smell it. Right? So, and we're going to place it in here. And we're going to be doing alternating on these towers.
Okay.
And I would say... Let's get this thing. I'm going to put it right here. There we are. That's it. We have now planted a zip grow tower. Let's move this one over. Easy as that. Very user-friendly system for the most part. I mean, the locking mechanism for these towers is not that great, but other than that, very user-friendly, grows lots and lots of food. You can, and it's compatible with organic nutrients. So, yeah. That's a Zip Grow Farmwall 8, and if you're wondering how much that's going to cost you, $1 grand. If you want to grow lots of food in a small space and you have that kind of money to spend, it's worth it. Let's try and avoid that. Can you rinse that off, please? Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing you don't want to do is get sediment into the system, because that'll clog it up. Goodness. Yeah, in case, if you guys were wondering where we were last week, I was out sick. Thankfully it was not COVID, but it was not pleasant, let's just say that. It was a pretty bad cold. But I'm feeling better now. So now we repeat the process, and we have to do 24 of these for now. Actually, no, we have to do 28. I think since that one gets morning sun, along with the chamomile, we'll do chard. Chard or arugula would work there. Okay. But the rustic arugula is going to be a really tough plant, so it should be able to take heat like the kale.
Nice.
Kale can take a considerable degree of heat for a leafy green, especially for a brassica. A lot of brassicas don't like heat, but the kales are among the toughest of the brassicas. There we are. That's in. Ooh, that one came apart. You do have to be kind of careful when working with Rockwool because it can split. That one unfortunately split, but it's not really going to hurt the seedlings all that much. Thankfully. And these are at the perfect stage for transplanting, and they should experience virtually no transplant shock. So that's good. The seaweed extract is more just like icing on the cake. So you can kind of see how these systems work. The water enters through the top, the nutrient solution enters through the top of the tower, and then exits through the bottom and is recirculated. It's very simple. You know, people think that hydroponics and vertical farming is some like super sophisticated space age technology, and then like sure, you know, once you get into automation, like dosing systems and whatnot, climate control, yeah, then you know it becomes very technologically involved. But the core technology itself is very simple, many people might not know this, but hydroponics is actually a very ancient technology. The earliest known historical example we have of hydroponics, one of the earliest would be the mythical hanging gardens of Babylon. It's thought that those were a manually operated hydroponic system that brought water up to the top of this large structure with a system of buckets and pulleys.
Oh, okay.
And of course, there are other examples of hydroponic and aquaponic systems from around the world throughout history. One of the most well-known being the Chinampas of Mexico, which is regarded to be among the most productive systems of agriculture in the entire world. And another example would be the floating raft gardens of the Ganges Delta and certain parts of what we now call China. Very ancient technology. The only difference nowadays is we have new materials and we have electric pumps. And that has offered us new ways to utilize this technology and new applications for it, which is cool. And no, you don't have to do it inside. Doing it inside simply offers you a bit more control. In fact, I would say that if I lived in an apartment and had like a little balcony and was given the option of doing containers or this, I would do this. Hydroponics or aquaponics, because it'll grow way more food for you in that kind of space.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are, another tower. You can see how fast this is and how little work it is. So I think we'll plant this system during the live and maybe demonstrate the water testing and dosing.
Okay.
We'll be talking about aquaponics this month. There we are. Chamomile. You can grow all kinds of things in these towers. Not just like lettuce and kale and whatnot. Any green, any small herb. Just no root crops really. I have done radishes in these towers. They kind of work. But nothing. Yeah, can you grab another tower, please?
One over?
Yeah, one over, please. Nothing that gets too large. Generally, no fruiting crops. I would know. I've tried. Can you grow zucchinis in the tower? Yes, but it'll probably destroy the towers. Can you grow tomatoes in the towers? Yes, if you select the right variety, specifically a microdwarf variety, but doesn't make a lot of sense. You will get tomatoes though. Let's be careful not to damage that swale over there, because we're still going to do the wildflowers along the front. I'm just getting the other guys established first, because the wildflowers will be very aggressive once they get in there. And we need the alfalfa to establish without much competition. Yeah, so we'll do the Roman chamomile next. I've been trying to get that to grow, and I'm very excited about it. It is a much lower growing plant than chamomile, and it spreads. So even though it's a smaller plant, I'm thinking that 10 will be sufficient, because it'll eventually just take over the tower. That way we save some of our seedlings. And it looks like we're going to need to thin these probably in a week, once they establish. I like to not thin them entirely until they establish in the towers. Just in case, because if you thin them down to 1 before you put them in the towers, and then you lose 1 later on, you have now wasted a planting space, and that's going to result in a reduction of your yield. So I would much rather do the final thinning once I know that the plants are well established in the towers and are not going to die. I still have a cough.
The lingering cough.
The lingering cough. It's one of those colds that where you have a cough that lingers for a very long time. Not my favorite kind of cold at all. So yeah, we're gonna dip these, give them their bath. I think we actually need to get all that debris out of the water.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if this stuff gets in these systems, they will clog. And as we all can tell you here at Let's Grow Healthy,
Yes.
dealing with clogs in these systems is not fun.
It's a pain.
And these systems, this particular system was not designed for an outdoor environment where there's lots of dirt and leaves and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed for a very urban outdoor environment or an indoor environment. So, and that's evident in the choice of materials for the pipework. So, and specifically the choice to use small diameter emitters. So, if you want an outdoor adapted system, you'd have large diameter emitters feeding the towers. And I can't switch them out for large diameter emitters because the large diameter ones won't fit. Because I would want to put half-inch ones, and those will not fit in there. I have built zip grow systems before. I have operated zip grow systems for over 5 years. They're great, but they have their ups and downs. And and there are also many other great hydroponic and aquaponic technologies out there. I don't believe in one system, but if you're going to do something on a wall, this is a great option. And I really like that they're suited to organic hydroponics. And I've said that, why are they suited to organic hydroponics? The reason is because they have this media. So in organic hydroponics, like in organic soil, the nutrients have to be mineralized or broken down by microorganisms before they're available to plants, right? And the microorganisms need somewhere to live. They don't really do that well just living in the water, unless you aerate it constantly. So they need some kind of like surface to colonize and form a biofilm on. And this media provides that surface. And so, because normally otherwise, if you were to say do like nutrient film technique, you would need to have some kind of biofilter to process those nutrients and filter out waste, because that's the other thing. Organic nutrients cause, and the microbial processes that break them down cause particulate matter to form in the water. So you need to have a system that can handle a certain degree of particulate matter. The zip grow towers can, because this media is also a mechanical filter that will remove the particulate matter from solution. Or from suspension, I should say. So yeah, otherwise, if you don't have a system that is suited for organic hydroponics, for example, one that cannot handle particulates without clogging, one that does not provide a suitable habitat for the microorganisms that will mineralize the nutrients in the fertilizers, then you have to use synthetic nutrients, which are made from fossil fuels mostly. So, which is something I prefer not to do. So I use organic nutrients whenever I can. The other type of system that is well suited to organic nutrients is called deep water culture. And deep water culture is the best method for growing leafy greens if you're not working with a vertical space. And it's the easiest type of system to construct. So, let's get this in. And this is one of the design flaws of this particular system.
Yes.
It's really hard to hang these towers back up. The systems I work with use a sort of like, not a latch, what would you call it, like a bracket system. You literally just have to like clip the towers on. And that one you have to like slot them into the holes, and it's a pain in the butt. But yeah, so while Nellie's getting the next tower down, let's talk about underneath the systems. So why have we done this underneath the systems? So obviously, you know, we wanted to grow some stuff under them because we had this space underneath. So why not grow mint? Mint can tolerate part shade, and you can grow it very well in containers. It's very productive in containers, and we also want to use mint for tea. So that's why we put the mint here. Mint is also very good at dealing with, you know, I guess wastewater. Mint loves wastewater, and so these systems do produce wastewater. Every once in a while, we're going to purge the water out of the systems. And so instead of it going to waste, we want to use it to water the mint because it is rich in some nutrients, and the mint can, you know, handle a bit of like, you know, the unwanted nutrients, the unwanted leftover salts. But, you know, of course, the mint is not going to be able to utilize all of these nutrients. And when we flush out the systems and water the mint, some of that water is going to come out of the bottom, and it's going to cause the ground to become muddy. We've had this issue of the ground getting muddy when we purge out the systems because this is decomposed granite. It gets very muddy. So what we did was we dug these little trenches and then piled the soil out in front, or piled the decomposed granite out in front. When you dig like a trench and then pile the soil down slope like this, that's called a swale. So these are mini swales, and swales are structures that are really good at capturing excess rainwater and excess runoff water. And so in this case, we're mainly looking to capture excess runoff water in these swales to prevent the area from getting muddy. And so when you construct a swale, you have the opportunity to grow even more plants. And so that's what we're doing here. In the trench, what we're doing is we're establishing alfalfa. And so alfalfa is nitrogen fertilizer. It's a green manure. It's plant-based nitrogen fertilizer. And we have some other like plants that are helping alfalfa become established, but these are the alfalfas right here, the little guys. We got some buckwheat as well to solubilize phosphorus for the alfalfa, because phosphorus is critical for nitrogen fixation, and then flax to begin breaking up the decomposed granite and building mycorrhizae in the decomposed granite. We didn't use any amendments or fertilizers for this. All we did was we tossed some leaf mold in here and mixed it and then planted seeds. That's it. And so now we're going to be growing green manure to feed the wellness garden and to feed the mints, and a little bit of extra nitrogen it might need, although it might not end up needing it. And so we're utilizing that excess water to now grow fertilizer and eventually as well habitat, because on the berm right here, on the mound in the front of the swale, we're going to be planting some really low-growing native wildflowers that can tolerate a little bit of traffic and abuse, because we're going to have a bit of that around here. People, you know, stepping around here, you know, because we're to service the systems and whatnot. So we're gonna, you know, put some like traffic tolerant wildflowers and grasses here. I'm thinking purple needlegrass, California poppy, lotus, and yarrow in specific. And then that will provide habitat for pollinators, our insectary plants, to be a natural form of pest control for the hydroponic system. So it's all an integrated system that produces no waste, utilizes all of the wastewater to grow more fertilizer and provide habitat, to grow more food, more fertilizer, and to provide habitat for native insects, both, you know, for environmental stewardship purposes and pest control. And so we're establishing the alfalfa first, and then the wildflowers are going to go on top. We want to make sure the alfalfa can establish with little competition from the wildflowers, and then we're going to get those in. So yeah, that's our little system that we have right here. Cool stuff, huh? So let's plant another tower. Hello. We have who? Hi Miranda, how are you?
Doing good, how are you?
Great. We're doing a live stream right now. We're planting hydroponic systems.
Perfect.
Would you like to come join us?
Yes, I would love to. Miranda's here till 12 p.m.
Cool.
So, I'll be in. I'll ask if you need me for anything.
Yeah. Maybe you can continue planting these then, and Ellie and Miranda can come join me over there on the research plot after that. Okay. You ever seen one of these systems before?
So they took us on a garden tour probably during my undergraduate, and they kind of showed us some of it, but it was all that stuff over here. We didn't have this area yet.
Yeah, this is new. This is the same technology as we've used in the past in one of those systems over there.
Okay.
They're called zip grow towers, and I can show you how they work.
Okay.
So it's very easy. We have our seedlings right here. Germinated in rockwool, which is basically basalt that has been melted down in a big furnace and spun into this cotton candy-like material.
Okay.
It's very good at holding on to water and nutrients. And it came out of our nursery table right there.
Awesome.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to take these felt inserts.
Okay.
We're soaking them in the solution. This is just a solution of seaweed extract and water,
Okay.
which is a root growth stimulant to reduce transplant shock. We're going to lay them like so, about an inch offset from what is going to become the outside. Lay this one on top right here. And then, like so. We're going to just give these a little dunk in here to get the seaweed extract in there. And we'll begin to separate them. We'll start laying them out. And this is Roman chamomile.
Okay.
We're trying to do some herbs. See how chamomile does in towers. I've never done it, but
Okay.
I don't see why it wouldn't work. So for the rest of that one, why don't you do chard? And chard is a champion in these towers. It's massive. I've grown some crazy big chard in these towers.
So you want to chart in the other 4 towers?
In the other 4, yeah. I think it'll be a good companion for Ken. And then some of the other ones, we're actually going to be doing some African blue basil and some tulsi, but I don't have tulsi seedlings yet. I might need to take some cuttings from my partner's plant in my house. Alrighty, there we are. Oh, this is upside down. Can you turn it over for me, please? Because you want that little notch to be on the top
Okay.
when you get these in there. Oh yeah, and when you're planting the chard and Ellie, since they're a bit leggy, make sure to seat them in a bit deeper.
Okay.
I think the legginess is from too much shade in the nursery on the nursery table and a little bit too much phosphorus in the nutrient solution. I was definitely a bit heavy with the phosphorus. So we'll reduce the phosphorus and maybe kick up the nitrogen a bit more and potassium. It's all tweaking and troubleshooting, and eventually you dial it in. There's no formula for organic hydroponics like there is if you're using synthetic nutrients. So you kind of have to figure it out for yourself. But that's the fun part. And plus, it's much better for the environment than the synthetic nutrients. There we are. Okay, cool. There we go. So I'll go put this up. Nellie, would you mind getting the water, the water testing equipment and the fertilizers for this system? Alrighty, here we are. Let's hang this one back up. And then we can reinitiate water. We're going to get a bit of a better angle here so you guys can see the whole system and the whole process. There we are. And the dappled shade here is definitely beneficial for the summer, but not for the winter. So we're going to need to see if we can get these trees pruned sometime soon, because they're becoming a bit of a problem. You can kind of just like scoot them out if you're careful, but you have to be careful. You want to make sure that they have contact with the sun, but you don't want to damage their roots in moving them. I think that's fine. Okay, German chamomile, Roman chamomile, Roman chamomile. And these are the roots. Oh, hi, Dr. B.
Hi. I was just saying, I was like, oh, I hope we're going to be planting.
Chamomile's in. So we have 2 varieties of chamomile, and the live stream's on too.
Yay.
You want to say hi?
I was going to share my video.
Yeah. Oh, look, you're on it.
And
But yeah.
it's on a delay.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of a delay. Oh, you have the nutrients too. So we're gonna need the fish and kelp hydrolysate, and we're gonna need the fish emulsion. And yeah, the acid's in there too. Good. So now that we've got our plants in, so German chamomile, Roman chamomile, we can make sure that the chemistry of the system is correct. So, okay, there we go. Let's get that camera moved over here. I'll be right back.
Oh. Am I on?
Yes, you are. Although there's an echo. So let's talk about how we test our water. So a simple pH test kit will suffice. I typically like to use a wide range solution for hydroponics because the pH can get really out of whack sometimes in hydro. In aquaponics, it tends to be more stable. But we want to be able to dial it in where we need it, which is going to be around 6. So let's withdraw a sample from the water.
This is so exciting, Andres.
Oh yeah, I'm super stoked. Wait till you see what these systems can do, Dr. B. Now that it's not like scorching hot, and then the plants aren't cooking. Now that's something that we can fix. The whole water temperature issue. We just need to get like a big tank and plumb it to all the systems so that we have more thermal mass running through the systems, so that our thermal mass of water is like much larger, and that'll mean less temperature fluctuations. We just have to wire up all the systems. So our pH is going to be around 7, maybe 6.5 right now, which is good on the high side. And then we have our EC, or electrical conductivity, which is measured nutrient concentrations. And just dip this probe in here. And our EC is at 0.8, which is about half what we want. So we are going to double up our fertilizer doses. And we also need to add some acid to the system to lower the pH. And we use food-grade phosphoric acid. This is 30% phosphoric acid because the 85% stuff that I've used in the past is a bit nasty. So it's a bit dangerous. This is still not that safe if you're not handling it correctly, but it's a lot safer than 85%. So we'll just like squirt in a little bit. And then we need the nutrients. Well, first of all, let's put some iron. This is the iron stuff I was talking about. This is called chelated iron. It's just this yellow powder. And basically what it is it's iron complexed up with an organic acid. And the organic acid renders the iron water soluble. There are not many iron salts that are soluble in water, which makes iron availability an issue for plants. But if you have an organic acid group, in this case, DTPA, I forget what that stands for, and I probably would butcher the name, then you can make the iron available to the plants. And so we're just going to sprinkle it just a little bit. You don't need a lot. Iron is a micronutrient. Plants need it. They need it really bad, but they don't need a lot. Because it's mainly like an enzyme cofactor and a component of certain very important biomolecules involved in the production of chlorophyll. So that's why when you have iron deficiency, your plants can't produce chlorophyll. So there we are. We've got our iron in there. I think Anelli is busy, so let's go get the nutrients from the wellness garden. And we'll get to give you guys the update on the garden anyways, which is cool because it's starting to, it's looking really lush again now that the heat has passed. But it took the heat really well, which is great because it got really hot. And as I've said, you know, like regenerative soil has once again demonstrated how amazing it is because plants that should not have taken the heat took the heat. So yeah, check it out. We've got our pigeon peas bearing. One of my favorite plants ever is pigeon pea. Tithonia. This one we only cut back like 6 weeks ago, and it's already grown this much, not less, I think. And sugarcane is getting massive. Once again, this is on its second year. And the Moringa, we did a big harvest recently that we donated to the food pantry. Basically just took the canopies up. It's already grown a ton since that harvest, which is about a week and a half ago. And we'll be doing one more harvest before the Moringa goes to sleep for the winter. And then we're going to be using the Moringas as a pea trellis over the winter to grow peas. And the peas will fertilize the soil for the Moringa so that they produce a nice harvest over the next growing season. We're attempting lettuce in here right now, and the buckwheat is helping support the lettuce and give it some shelter. Lemongrass is going strong. Got some more Tithonias, more pigeon peas. The Mexican sage looks happy and blooming. Cassava right here. The cassava is kind of bouncing back. Yeah, maybe cassava is not as heat tolerant as one would expect, but it just stopped. It just slowed its growth when it got really hot. It didn't really suffer at all. Then, of course, we have my favorite plant here, the blue Java banana. Absolute champ. I was impressed by how well this one took the heat. I mean, I was genuinely impressed because bananas, you know, they can be a bit unhappy when it gets too hot, but this one didn't even care. So that's really cool. And once again, this is on its first year. We planted it in March, and it's already like what, 12 feet tall, 15 feet tall. It'll get like way taller than this by the time it fruits. I would say it probably, the stem, which ends right here, the pseudostem, probably has like a good 4 more feet of height it needs to put on before it flowers and reaches its maximum height. So it's a big boy. It's very happy. And we only fertilized it when we planted with commercial fertilizer and once after that. Other than that, it's just been getting fed green manure, which is, you know, impressive for bananas because they are said to be heavy feeders. But anyways, let's get our nutrients. They should be in here. Bear with me one moment. Hey, Nelly, do you have the nutrients? Oh, they are over there. Well, you guys got a free tour of the garden. One more thing before we go. I want to show this pigeon pea wall to you guys because these pigeon peas are absolute rock stars. We have pulled so much free nitrogen out of the atmosphere with these guys, and they're going to make some great fertilizer. And we're also going to be thinning them out. You can see where I put these stakes in. So these two are going to become just like sacrificial green manure plants. And then right here where we put these stakes, we are going to be planting tea, Camellia sinensis, as in green tea and black tea and oolong tea, the plant that produces all those teas. We recently located a nursery that sells tea plants that are adapted to California's climate, Southern California's climate, which is super cool because who doesn't want to grow their own tea? Why import the stuff when you can grow it? So that one will be interesting because I know it likes acidic soil. Pigeon pea also likes acidic soil, which is great. So if we need to lower the soil pH, we can do that. But, you know, as I've said in the past, I've found that soil pH doesn't matter as much as you think when you have really healthy soil. So, and the soil in the wellness garden has become crazy healthy that vegetables grow like weeds now. So, yeah, and these are for the research plots, Dr. B. Yeah, so we'll be able to produce all of our own seedlings in-house now for all these systems. And this is the Rockwool stuff right here.
They're all going in.
Yeah, these are all going in ASAP this week. So we'll have all these planted this week for the most part. I mean, I need to get some more seedlings going for a couple of them because the seeds just came. But because we're going to be doing some sages and some more basils, like Tulsi, holy basil, and African blue basil. These are like year-round basils that will grow all year round. So these Italian basils are going to be done in a couple months. We might even pull them out a bit early, so we'll see, because it's getting shady in here. But yeah, we're going to dose up the systems. So it's really easy to dose up a hydroponic system. I can remember the dosage. I always keep forgetting the dosage. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. And I think typically I put like a tablespoon of everything in here. So let's do another tablespoon of everything. Is the fish emulsion over there, Nelly? The Alaska stuff? Except for the seaweed powder. So this is our phosphorus heavy fertilizer. This is Neptune's Harvest fish fertilizer. And this is this fish fertilizer that was produced with a different process. So these systems are fish and kelp run, basically. And so we're going to... Is it this one? Let me see. It is that one. Thank you. So 1 tablespoon of that. And 1 tablespoon of this nitrogen-rich fish emulsion. And it is stinky. But, you know, if you're an organic gardener, then you are used to stinky. And then we have Maxi Crop seaweed powder. And you only want to add a little bit of that. I typically will add like half of a teaspoon because it is just so potent. I mean, we're 17% potassium in it. So it's crazy potent. You do not want to overdo it. What's that? We got it. So that's it. And if we can toss in some azomite if we want, which will give us a bit more micronutrients. Birds? I don't think so. It might be the emitters making sounds. Excuse me. All right, that's it. We have dosed up our hydroponic system. And now we just need to turn the power back on. Whenever you're planting out a system, you want to turn off the power so you don't lose water. And we're just literally just have to plug it back in. We're good to go. And also make sure that your plug is not wet, because then that will trip the GFI and you won't have power. And also it's unsafe to have water on electrical equipment, so there's that. I've definitely electrocuted myself working with these systems, mildly. All right, there we go. We're running. But of course, since you have some charge to plant now, you're going to need to turn it off. Yeah, just for demonstration purposes. So in a couple weeks, this will be nice and leafed out and beautiful. So yeah, this one is once again chard and chamomile. Yeah, that's a great idea. So it is time to enter live stream. So thank you for joining us, everyone. And just a reminder, the Wellness Garden is now open from 9 to 5 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 3 to 6 Tuesday, Thursday. Feel free to drop by and visit and maybe pick some herbs. You can also use the Ask a Master Gardener feature on our website if you have any questions about your garden. Let us know if you need help. All right, thank you everybody, and have a fantastic week. We will see you Wednesday at 9:30 next week. Ciao.